Okay, well, I know you just told me, but would you tell me your name again and that you were the first mayor?
Yes, my name is Oyer G. Leary.
And what years were you mayor here?
Well, I was mayor from 1956 to 1961.
So can you tell us a little bit about what it was like in those days?
Well, and before that, before being elected mayor, I was the president of the Thornton Community Association, which was the volunteer association government that preceded the city government.
So that was the very first organization that got together here.
Right. In other words, that organization functioned for 2 years prior to incorporation, from 1954 to 1956.
So it must have been pretty sparse up here at that time, wasn't it?
There was nothing when Sam Hoffman, Jerry Carley today brought some photos which showed the original earth movers, and there was absolutely nothing in this whole north area. They were out there rolling at about 88th and North Washington today, and looking out to the north and all the other directions. There was absolutely nothing out here in the whole north area.
So why did you folks pick this spot?
Well, I think that my situation wasn't any different than most young veterans. Sam Hoffman came to this area and built a home, something like models between $8,000 and $10,000. And as I recall, there was for veterans. There was anywhere from $300 to $500 closing costs with nothing down. And as I recall, my home, the initial payment was $69 a month. So the veterans, of course, getting a GI loan on those terms, I mean, that was a tremendous attraction. And for young families just starting out, why that was a good opportunity compared to the rest of the Denver market, that they could get their own home right away.
So do you consider your group that you were kind of risk takers?
That's right. I think that when you come out to a new area and there's no schools and no fire station and no police protection, no nothing, and you're strictly on your own, developing your own property and trying to cope with those particular situations, you'd have to be kind of a pioneer.
Yeah, you were probably towards the last of the era of pioneers, I'd say.
Well, I would say that looking back on it now, that was a unique situation. Not only was it new, but you had a lot. I would say that over 70% of all those people, of course, were ex-GIs with all their prior experiences and military careers and everything that were brought to bear, on a new community and a new life.
So what does that mean for the city of Thornton, having its roots in a group of people like that?
Well, I think that it gives meaning to a start. It has to be a start somewhere, and to what it is now. So when you make a comparison and look out to see the beautiful facilities and everything that we have now, I think that the young people today, of course, have the benefit of a lot of things that were pioneered, by my generation here.
Do you think there's still work for the young people to do today?
Yes, I think there's still opportunities for young people, but at least my observation, they're really, they don't have the same type of spirit that there was. Of course, the times were different then than they are now, but I would certainly hope that the time of pioneering and for people to seize the opportunity is still there.
So you can still be a pioneer.
Right. That's correct. Because the growth is unlimited, even from this point, looking ahead.
Were you around, I've heard some story about somebody being thrown in a swimming pool.
Right. Well, that was the type of spirit that characterized the type of camaraderie that existed between all the people, being ex-service people, and the fact that we were all volunteers. There wasn't anybody paid or anything else, and we were all just kind of in the same boat, in the same community, and so there was a lot of frivolity and good times, and that was just a part of the spirit. I'd say the community spirit that existed at that time.
So what was that story? I don't really remember.
Well, the pool, the so-called park and swimming pool was originally donated by the developer Sam Hoffman, but they didn't complete it. They in effect left us with a undeveloped acreage for a park and a more or less a hole in the ground with the basic concrete lining that was there, and left it. And we got the deed, of course, to the park and with the swimming pool. Then by volunteer effort, that I'm talking about individuals skilled as plumbers, electricians, carpenters. Everybody got together and finished the pool. And on the day that the pool finally opened, which was a culmination of all the efforts of all these people in the community that had used their talents and work to develop that pool, why I went up there to deliver the dedication speech for the park and the opening of the swimming pool. And just as I had concluded my remarks, why 3 or 4 firemen came up on either side of me and unceremoniously grabbed me and gave me the deep six into the pool. And of course, everybody had a great time, and we had a great dedication celebration for the rest of the day. So that kind of kicked it off.
I'm sure you were very gracious.
Yeah, right.
Well, I guess as people see Thornton today, do you think there's an image of it in the past that would be kind of hard for them to imagine?
Well, I think that that the people today, of course, they accept their fire protection and their police protection and basic city services almost for granted. When we started this community, there was no fire protection. There was no police protection. There was little or no schools. There were no community support system there, and it had to be built from the ground up. And the people, of course, realized when they went into the community that they didn't have these amenities, and they didn't have these type of services. And by their own efforts and pulling up by their own bootstraps, they provided that basic services which the people today just take for granted.
It would be very hard for the kids today to imagine there being no fire department.
That's right. They pass a fire station, or they see the police out patrolling. They have parks, the rec centers. They have all of these things. And I just kind of feel that they just take these things for granted and don't realize that at one point that they were non-existent.
So what's ahead for Thornton, do you suppose?
Well, depending on, I'm optimistic on the city's water project that they have, and assuming that that is completed as it's projected. I look for double the growth as it is sitting here right now, and meaning that Thornton having more raw land available and chance to grow, that we probably, the city of Thornton probably be one of the top populated cities in the state of Colorado, certainly within the top 5 populated communities.
Who would have thought?
And that's starting from nothing 40 years ago.
It's pretty impressive. Well, I think that's good, unless you can think of any specific stories that would be good to include in the documentary.
Well, I think that the only real story, of course, is the putting in place all of these basic services by people volunteering their services. And I think that if there's any place to the 40th year celebration is a recognition of these people that formed the first fire department, volunteers with no pay, the police officers that went on at no pay. There was no pay available for anybody. I'm talking about the police and fire department for 2 years. I mean, that there was sufficient money to actually have a payroll of any kind. And that was a distinct sacrifice for all these people, because they were holding full-time jobs and they were donating their time. So I think that it should be kind of a recognition to the people that did pioneer the community at no prospect of gain to themselves, that they were willing to devote their time and their services and their individual talents and pool them all together and bring the city into existence and bring it to where it's at today.
I have a feeling there's a message there still for today's kids.
Right, I think so.
And if they want to see change, they should get active.
That's right. If they see something that they don't feel is right, their tax funds are not being spent properly, or that they want additional services for whatever it is, there's still plenty of opportunity for the young person today.